You ever find yourself at a party or maybe a networking thing, and you're surrounded by all this chit-chat, the weather, weekend plans, and you just feel completely drained, like your social battery has been yanked right out? Well, if that sounds familiar, you are in the right place. We're going to get into exactly why, for some of us, small talk feels less like a friendly exchange and more like a really frustrating puzzle with no solution.
First things first, let's just validate that feeling, because it is way more common than you might think. We're diving right into what we're calling the small talk struggle.
So let me just ask you, straight up, does chit-chat leave you feeling drained? And I don't mean just a little tired. I mean genuinely depleted, like you just ran a mental marathon. If you're nodding your head right now, there's a fascinating reason why, and it really gets to the heart of this whole thing. For those of us with a more analytical mind, this is the root of the problem right here. Small talk feels like all effort and zero reward. Think about it. You're putting in all this mental energy to keep a conversation going that seems to go nowhere, offers no new information, and doesn't solve a single problem. It's like revving a car engine in neutral. Lots of noise, but you're not going anywhere.
So why do we feel this way? Well, a lot of the time, the outside world, and hey, maybe even our own inner critic, jumps to a really simple but really wrong conclusion. So let's tackle that common misconception head on.
Ugh, how many times have we heard some version of this? The idea that if you don't enjoy casual conversation, you must be aloof or cold, or that you just lack empathy. It's the go-to judgment. But you know what? It completely misses the point. And that brings us to the big question we're unpacking here. Is this discomfort with small talk some kind of social failing on your part, or is it simply a cognitive feature, just a different way your brain is wired to handle conversations? The argument we're exploring today says it's definitely the second one. Okay, this is where it all starts to click. The key to understanding this whole thing is a framework that makes everything make sense. It turns out there are basically two different modes of conversation, and once you see them, you can't unsee them. So, mode number one is called structural thinking. This is for people who prefer conversations that have a point. They have a direction. They dig into a topic with some real depth, and the whole goal is to get to some kind of clarity. It's like your mind wants to build something with ideas, to analyze, to problem solve, to really understand how something works.
Now, this gets really cool when you compare structural thinking with the other mode, effective communication. For a structural thinker, the main goal is understanding, and the reward is that awesome aha moment of insight. But for effective communication, which is pretty much what small talk is, the goal is just connection, and the reward is that feeling of belonging. See? Neither one is better than the other, they're just different operating systems.
So let's break it down. Why exactly does small talk feel like nails on a chalkboard for a structural brain? Well, for starters, it lacks a clear structure. There's one topic, no goal. It also offers no resolution. The conversation just kind of drifts off. Crucially, it provides almost no new insight. And finally, it can feel emotionally vague, which forces an analytical mind to try and guess social cues without any clear data. It's exhausting.
And this is the most important point. Your exhaustion is not a sign of emotional coldness. It does not mean you don't care about people. It is a cognitive mismatch. Your brain is a high-performance engine that's looking for a road to drive on, and small talk just feels like being stuck in traffic. Okay, so what do we do with this new understanding? Well, that brings us to the final and I think most empowering part of this whole thing, the reframe. This is where we stop seeing this as a weakness and start recognizing it as a strength. We're calling it clarity over filler.
And here it is. This is the core message, the one thing I really want you to take away from this. Let this one sink in. Your difficulty with small talk does not mean you lack empathy. It is not a character flaw. It's just a fundamental misunderstanding of your cognitive style.
So what does it mean then? It means your brain is designed to seek clarity, not filler. You're wired for substance. You thrive on meaning, on understanding, on conversations that actually build towards something. You don't just want to talk, you want to communicate. And that leaves us with one last powerful thought. What if we stop treating communication as this one-size-fits-all skill that everybody has to be good at in the exact same way? What if, instead, we started seeing it as a personal style, something as unique and as valuable as any other part of our personality? Now that's something to think about.